If you missed my live stream, I did a live stream earlier, just kind of going over, talking about oh, let me let this cycle a little bit just to make sure I'm live. You guys know how these YouTube algorithms are, but another unplanned live stream. It is a lot going on in this world, guys. I think we all can agree with this. Satan's world is sataning. Um, and catch my live stream earlier. It was another unplanned live streams, and obviously you can hit that live stream tab from my channel, and you can catch up on any live streams that you missed. But I was talking about Nolan Wells. There were some new developments, some enhanced audio, some of the background conversation, definitely suspect. And again, I feel like, we're under the Trump administration right now. And so, when you're under Republican administrations, the propaganda machine tends to focus on hyper racist white people, right? That's typically what it focuses on when you're under Republican administrations. You see more white supremacy. Actually, when the Republicans are in office, they substantiate all of the claims that the Democrats will use to weaponize against them at some point in an election cycle. And so the Republicans, have lived up to all of the accusations of the Democrats. So really, they have a lot of ammo to run on and go on. And in some of these races, Democrats are actually doing better than Republicans because, again, people are looking at all these people as neocons who like to see children killed in other countries so that somebody's son can get a real estate deal. So, off that, Satan's demons will be demoning. But I happened to catch the Michigan Senate race. And right now, this is the Democrats. And you got Haley Stevens and Abdul Al Sayed. And to be honest with you, I don't know much about either one of these candidates outside of what they do. I don't follow these politicians, even at the local level, because honestly, I am apolitical. I am an independent to the core, and I just don't want to deal with the affairs of demons. Because I feel like no matter who you vote for, these people are going to be doing things that are against your interests, against everything that they campaigned on. And as you're going to hear in this debate, a lot of these people are puppets to these super PACs. And so in Michigan, Haley Stevens has gotten a lot of heat for how much money she has gotten from APAC. And I think she's at $46 million. And so when people want to say that it's anti Semitic or whatever, anti whatever they want to say, that people are, our politicians are paid off by these special interest groups, especially with a lot of money that will influence foreign policy, right? They're not lying. I think that the writing is on the wall for everybody now. A lot of these people are paid off by these super PACs that don't care about America. They care about the interests of a nation that is not America. And in APAC's, regard, they care about the interests of that demonic abomination of a desolation called Israel, the mockery of the scriptures. And so they're going to do everything to sustain that welfare state with American taxpayers' dollars. They're going to do everything to make sure that there's a sense of security in that welfare state with the labor of Americans' tax-paying dollars. And honestly, this is like a new creative way of slavery. They have literally made Americans slave because anytime your labor is going going towards not even the bottom line of your company, but some other entity that you have zero loyalty to, excuse me. Yeah, we're all slaves to the system. But Haley Stevens and Abdul Al Sayed, they had a debate recently. And honestly, he won, in my opinion. He won. He won. But again, The bigger conversation on a lot of people's minds is where these people are getting their donations, who are they really speaking and working on behalf of. So,
And we'll dive right
Root
into that right
Raj,
now. You've heard many people
this dude was a teacher in my media program.
ask the question about APAC, and it seems as though on many instances you haven't directly answered the question. Do you see why some people are bothered by the fact that so much money, $40+ million, has come from APAC for these PACs to talk about you and to promote you and to put you up as a candidate?
Yeah, and I appreciate the question, Root, because this moment in this country and here in Michigan, people have every right to be frustrated about our campaign finance system. My opponent here on this stage, Abdul, he's got a super PAC that his father-in-law funds that has millions of dollars going into it. And look, in terms of foreign policy, you know, Abdul and I do differ. I believe in a two-state solution. He has attacked me by name.
And you know what? Let's talk about these people who talk about they believe in a two-state solution. That is impossible. That is impossible at this point. They have made it impossible. All that destruction in Palestine, all of that destruction, period, on that land to basically bully these people, intimidate these people out of the land. To me, there is no two-state solutions when you have people who are settled in stolen land. So, I mean, these people keep talking about things that cannot happen at this point. You know, they have robbed those people slowly but surely of their land. They have killed those people. Right. And so it's like, it really irritates me when I hear these politicians. I believe in a two-state solution. Guess what? APAC doesn't believe in that. Israel doesn't believe in that. And you just running your gums on that because I don't even think you know you can't believe in that because it's never going to happen. But you just going to run your mouth and say any old bullshit to appease the people that are listening who are vehemently against genocide. And honestly, you look at the reputation of Israel in itself, not just in the United States, but worldwide. People look at those demons as what they are. They are wicked. They are not worthy of protecting. They are killers. So, I mean, anyways, two-state solution is some bullshit.
That the people of Palestine and the people of Israel deserve to live side by side peacefully. The goal is always.
They don't want to live side by side peacefully. See, she's just running her gums. These people, this is what really irritates me, is that these people don't want to live side by side peacefully. How the fuck can you live side by side peacefully with somebody that just stole your land and whacked off generations of your people? There is no peace between these people. If anything, Israel has created all of the terrorists, all of the radicalists in the Middle East. They did it courtesy of all that bullshit they felt like they were entitled to do. That land deserves everything it gets from those Arab nations. It really does. Because you cannot keep throwing rocks and then hiding your hand and playing fucking victim and then crying to the fucking United States because we've already lost our credibility on their dumbass shit. Our worldwide credibility has been shot because of these dumbass people and the dumbass people in the military and the government that keep sanctioning this stupid ass shit. We don't look like a powerhouse in Iran right now. And we keep fucking with those people. And again, as much as people want to say it was Netanyahu's dream to go into Iran, guess what? They've been waiting for their asses. They've been waiting for our asses.
Long-term peace, and also the Prime Minister of Israel has attacked me by name. They both represent the extremes. Look, Michiganders want peace. They deserve to see peace, and that is where I have always cast my vote, and that is the work that I want to do for Michigan and the U.S. Senate.
Specifically about APAC money, more than $46 million has been spent on APAC spending to back your campaign. A lot of people wonder if...
I'm going to tell you this. If you take money from APAC, you don't want peace. You do not want peace. You want destruction. And so anybody who is funding anything from a destructive force, they are not a force for peace. So this girl is just running her mouth off, politicking at best. Because she can't
Is
believe
something
in
where
it
they're,
behind
you're
closed
going to do their
doors. Because
bidding
when she
when you
has to
play,
vote,
should you win
she's
the
going to
seat?
vote in
Is
the
that what
interest
you
of
concerned about?
destruction.
And if not, why not?
Absolutely not, Roop. Look, I have been very clear, consistent, and transparent, and I have continued to be. I want to see long-term peace. I want to see a two-state solution. I am deeply proud to represent one of the largest Jewish populations in a congressional district in the country. This is a community that I have grieved alongside, that I've mourned alongside, and have fought to bring the hostages home. And I'm still working to get us to long-term peace.
But no concern about the $46 million plus spent on the
She
behalf of
cannot answer that question. She is buck dancing around that question, but she is not going to be accountable for why she is getting that much damn money from one source.
PAC that should worry people about perhaps you doing their bidding should you win the seat?
Well, I don't think there's much difference between super PACs going in for Abdul or super PACs going in for me. We have a problem with campaign finance reform in this country. I have an A grading from End Citizens United. I have been endorsed by Defend the Vote. I have voted consistently, and I'm going to stop Mike Rogers from getting anywhere close to the United States Senate, which is why he doesn't want to run against me, and which is why somebody like Governor Whitmer is supporting me in this race.
Congresswoman Stevens, thank you. I want to give some equal time here to Dr. El Sayed, and specifically I want to talk to you a little bit about this geopolitical weight that we all feel in this community, which is about the Israel-Palestine issue.
I hate to say this, but you know, what it like I went in my media program, like, and this was years ago because I studied journalism myself. Um, who was it? Was John Kennedy? Who was John Kennedy running against? Um, and I guess this was around the time of radio before TV, right? And so these debates. Somebody in the chat tell me, who did Kennedy run against? Or I'll just Google it. Wait, was it, who was it? Richard Nixon. Okay. Yes, it was. So John Kennedy ran against Richard Nixon. And I remember in my broadcasting class, they were talking about how before, the era of broadcasting, obviously these debates would be on the radio. And so you would not really be able to, most people didn't see the candidates as much as we see the candidates in our generation. And it was told to us in this class that obviously when they did their debate on TV, on national TV, and people were actually able to look at the candidates, John Kennedy was able to get more favorability just because he was easier on the eyes. Now, not saying that he won because he was easier on the eyes, but when I'm looking at these two people debate, it's like one of these things is not like the other. And, people, can't help how they're born, but I can only kind of characterize people by just an equivalent character of kind of what they're doing. So she's like a politician, she's trying to run, you know, influence people. It just gives me Gotham City. And for some reason, I just keep thinking about Penguin from Batman when I see Haley Stevens. Like, if Penguin from Batman had a little sister, it would probably be her. I mean, the voice. And then I'm like, at first I thought it was a joke because I would see her, oh, I'm going to get fired up. And I'm just like, Penguin? Is that you? Like, and it's like, what the helly? What the helly? And the fact that she's taking money from APAC, it just don't even make it any better for her. But again, APAC got Thomas Massey out of the picture, right? It got Cori Bush out of the picture. APAC has a lot of power to get people in and out, right? When they're not playing ball. So interesting, but this guy is actually pretty handsome. I actually like looking at him. Like, it's like I could just put this whole thing like on like just mute and just let his little fine ass talk. He is fine.
Election.
It's very rare you find hot looking, politicians, but Abdul Al Said is a handsome man. That man is fine. You don't really find him looking like that
How
anymore.
do you see yourself moving forward should you become a
We need
senator
more
here
politicians
handling
that
this
look like
situation?
that. I am so tired of these spilled milk looking face people, curdled milk fucking people. Like, give me some fine ass people that actually can articulate. This man can articulate and he's fine. He's like a double
Iran,
threat.
Israel, and Hamas.
So I just want to say the difference between us is $46 million of APAC spending. They've set a record in this race to help elect my opponent because they know that she'll be a reliable vote, just like she took last week to send your tax dollars to a foreign government that is.
What if I told you that?
And Haley Stevens said that she dream about Israel and stuff, and it's like, what you dreaming about, girl? Dreaming about them taking over Lebanon and all their little neighbors' land as well? What you dreaming about? You know them people ain't the people of the
On the
Bible.
possibility. They've set a record in this race to help.
They're
elect my opponent
colonizers.
because they know that she'll be a reliable vote, just like she took last week to send your tax dollars to a foreign government that is aiding, arming, and abetting the very people who want to foreclose on the possibility of Palestinian self-determination.
This must be a Zionist dude in the crowd. They like panned in on the crowd, and a Zionist dude. I see his little Canaanite nose, so I know he's probably a Zionist. The ancestry is right there. But he's sitting up there all nervous and stuff, listening to this Muslim man talk or whatever designation. He probably think all of them that look like him is a Muslim or whatever. He just uncomfortable. He looked like he got crabs. He really looked like he got crabs, just uncomfortable as Abdul Asayed is talking. Oh, baby. I hope he ain't got nothing biting his ass because he is just nervous about hearing this man
Your
talk.
tax dollars spent in Michigan to provide schools in Michigan, to build healthcare in Michigan, to build roads in Michigan. And I think that money sent over there to kill kids and women is the worst use of our tax dollars.
I agree.
That's exactly.
I agree. Israel should fight their own wars. Yes, Israel does have a right to defend itself by its damn self. And I do not agree with the United States using our people's money to go fund people that don't even give a fuck about us. That is a welfare state, and I bet not hear not one Zionist person talk about the welfare situation in the United States of America when we sitting up there funding all them damn people over there, those welfare cases, because they act like they can't exist without us. They act like they can't exist without us. It's like, yeah, you have a right to exist. Go mind your damn business and fight your own damn wars. And continue on existing like every other independent country that got to figure out how to protect themselves as well. But to me, short squeezing the American people to on some old theoretical, philosophical, religious bullshit that is a lie, it's just getting out of control. It has gotten really out of hand the way that they have starved the people in this nation, short squeeze us, rob the American dream so that we can realize a welfare state of colonizers who stole people land and who were actively engaging in genocide, not just in Palestine, but in their neighboring countries. These people are wicked demons. Why are we funding demons? Like, they are demons. They really should be tried in international court, but everybody a punk around the world. Like, you saying that you don't agree with genocide, but then you having the power to stop it and you're not. I would have thought that other nations would have went to war with Israel over what they did to the Palestinians. To me, I would have felt like some nation should have went to war with them over what they were doing. And to me, they weren't defending themselves after October 7. They were looking, that was their excuse, their guise to go in with their plan to take those people's land and kill them, exterminate them. And their rhetoric suggests that much. And to have those demons like Lindsey Graham rest in hell. I don't believe in speaking ill about the dead, but for people like Lindsey Graham, rest in hell. I hope you went there with gasoline, with Exxon on your ass. You know, these people are demonic. So, I mean, again, you got candidates who are getting money from people who want all of that shit to continue. They want blood on American people's hand because the Israelis are too punk to do it themselves. They rather pass off the responsibility of blood on somebody else's hand using our machinery. They can say, well, we use American weaponry. It's like, man, get out of here. I like the world, like world leaders, the United Nations ain't shit, and world leaders ain't shit. Because again, what they were doing in Palestine, what they did to the Gazans, to me, that was akin to an international crime. And some nation that was not a punk should have moved on Israel. They should have. They're continuing to move on all these other nations anyways, unchecked. And honestly, I'm a little distressed about, you know, Russia, because like some of these conservatives, they were trying to put Vladimir Putin on like a pedestal at once upon a time. And it's like, oh, he's trying to get dominance. He's trying to get influence. He's trying to make deals. It's like, you better be making the right deals, dude, because a lot of people don't agree with that. Vladimir Putin, we need a hero in the Middle East. And because the United States have failed so bad, right? Here's your time to shine, bro. Like, honestly, Putin, is your time to shine because we done fucked up over here in America. So we don't even have any chance of achieving peace in the Middle East because we were part of the fucking chaos. So any other nation, you know, Great Britain, right? We short squeezed you out of your sterling so that we can become the world reserve currency, right? We played y'all asses back in the 1900s. Go be a fucking hero to the world because the United States is not. We're causing fucking destruction around the world. That's what this nation is doing. And this is what these super PACs are funding.
What $46 million in spending will buy you.
That the United States can't be the police of the world when we are serving as the terrorist funders of the world. Like, you can't really talk about Iran and Hezbollah. All these nations are funding forms of terrorism. Not one of these nations are more virtuous than the other when it comes to the sponsoring and terrorizing of regular civilian people in the name of somebody's idea of supremacy or colonization. Because at the end of the day, all of this shit is always going to be about land grabbing. It's always going to be about land grabbing. And that's it. These people are not protecting themselves. They're protecting their interest to colonize other people and kill them like they have always done throughout history. History definitely repeats itself. And when you start to see the patterns of history and the behaviors of the executors, you realize that these are bloodlines of evil. These people come from bloodlines of evil.
I believe deeply
Canaanite bloodlines, to be specific.
That we have a responsibility to make sure that we don't make other people's problems worse. So I believe in equal rights to peace, dignity, and self-determination for Palestinians and Jewish Israelis alike. I believe that we should not be fighting stupid wars that AIPAC wants us to fight in the first place. And I believe we have a responsibility to keep our money here, to invest here. That really is the difference. We're being outspent in this race 12-1. Chances are you're going to see an ad, probably two of them, on behalf of AIPAC for my opponent in the next commercial break. That's what that buys you, lying about a record around President Obama's endorsement or lying about me and my character. But that's exactly what happens when you stand up and say, maybe Palestinians should have rights too, and maybe we should have rights to our tax dollars here.
Dr. El-Sayed, I'm going to give Congresswoman...
I like that. Maybe we should have rights to our tax dollars here at home. Like, do you ever hear politicians really say things like that these days? Like, maybe we should have rights to our tax dollars here at home. Maybe we shouldn't be being the EBT program to Israel because it is a welfare state. It would not exist without the United States, and we know this.
A chance to respond as you made a couple of accusations there about our record. Go ahead, Congresswoman.
Well, as I said, I have been transparent, and that is why I have released my full tax returns, and Abdul still hasn't. We need to ask him, what's he hiding? What are the Republicans going to uncover in the general election that they will use against him? I am the only non-millionaire in this race. I have been recognized as an effective...
Considering the fact that Trump took forever to release his tax returns, I don't really think the Republicans are going to care about that. That's just me, but I think on a roster of things, the Republicans, right, they're not going to care about this man's tax return. Matter of fact, they're just going to be more focused on this man beating that woman, if anything. But I think maybe the Republicans probably would want Haley Stevens to win because then they can prime Mike Rogers to basically finish her, right? I think Abdul El-Sayed would be kind of tough against Mike Rogers because I think likability and even just track record and what people want in American society, they want fresh faces. They're tired of these legacy people that have been woven in to the government. So I think this dude definitely has a chance to win that seat if everything is fair and none of that election shit is going down.
Democratic lawmaker who, yes, governs in a clear, consistent way on complex challenges. I am beholden to the people of Michigan, the people who I hear from when I am in the grocery store line, people who've broken down in tears asking me how we can address this affordability crisis.
Well, one thing we can do is stop sending money to Israel. One thing we can do, Haley, is have people like you stop signing off on bills that send our earnings over to a foreign nation. Like, that's one way that we can tackle these issues that these constituents are coming up to you asking, because how do you tackle these issues? Riddle me this, right? How do you tackle these financial issues that Americans are having if our government is financing other nations and are not prioritizing our people? How does that really work?
I am in the grocery store line, people who've broken down in tears asking me how we can address this affordability crisis. And that is what I am doing. That is what I will do on day one. And I have...
But you're sending money to foreign lands, all right? You support sending money to foreign lands. And so that's the disconnect for a lot of Americans these days, is how do you run your mouth and say that you care about the affordability issues that Americans are having, and you are simultaneously signing off on bills that send our earnings to foreign lands. See, I mean, these y'all got to really start paying attention to what these demons are saying, because they're double talking demons. And they're saying like 12 things at one time in one statement sometimes.
The receipts to prove it. Dana Nessel agrees with me.
Dr. El-Sayed, I do want to ask you a question about the tone and the tenor of this campaign. It is safe to say that everyone from Washington to Washington Township in Michigan are sick and tired of people pointing fingers, screaming, yelling, and insulting one another. We've seen a lot of that all across the country. Just earlier this week, we heard that there was some kind of a Zoom call in which you had referenced an opponent as ogre on a pike, and so many people took offense to that, and it really pointed to the bigger question about the tone and tenor that you've been accused of having.
Look at him laughing like I sure did say that. That shit was funny as hell, but keep going.
This campaign. Do you regret any of the comments that you've made? And do you think that this race could take a more productive and a more substantive tone if we kept those personal slams out?
Look, I took to Twitter last week and said that the tone in which people talk about my opponent is unkind, and I asked anybody who supported me.
Yeah, he know they've been clowning her. I done heard all kinds of. They said she looked like Uncle Fester. I've heard the reoccurring one is Penguin from Batman. Um, they said like her voice is diabolical, and again, the girl can't help how she sound, how she look. But again, when you're a crooked politician, it makes you look ugly. And again, it's giving Gotham City. Like, and I cannot just not see her sounding like she might be Penguin's little sister. It's giving Gotham City. And Democrats, I'm sorry, some of their candidates just give Gotham City just weirdos, weird as hell. That's like they're the party of the
Did not talk about her
weirdos.
that way. In fact, when she got booed on the stage at the Michigan Democratic Party convention, I called her personally and said that that was unkind. My supporters had nothing to do with it, but I don't think that that's the way we want to do politics. I was referring to a guy named John Fetterman, who's a senator from Pennsylvania, who has done terrible things, got elected on a set of values, and is now completely throwing those values in the mud. And I do think it's important for any senator in Michigan to have a relationship with folks who are in the U.S. Senate. And if those folks are not actually acting in accordance with what they got elected on, I think it's important for all of us to have an honest opinion about what we're going to do to make sure that our Senate looks like the people it represents. But when we talk about unkindness, I also just want to speak to the fact that on behalf of my opponent, UDP, another name for AIPAC, has been running attack ad after attack ad after attack ad on my character. I'm the father of 2 daughters. I'm raising them to be stronger than any man. My wife is a doctor. My mother was the first tenured professor of engineering at her university. I was raised by strong women. To say that somehow, because I wrote an op-ed 15 years ago about First Lady Michelle Obama, or I ran against Governor Whitmer, that somehow I'm disrespecting anybody is just inconsistent with the truth. So
Okay, and I heard those ads, and he was like, he said that Governor Whitmore was bought and paid, and I'm like, most of these politicians are. Where was the lie in his statement? And then he said that some work that Michelle Obama did was uninspiring, and maybe for him it wasn't. You know what I mean? Inspiration is subjective. So why would you waste money on a super PAC ad to say those things? Like to me, it's an indication that they really don't got nothing on this guy. Or maybe they're just maybe saving the best for last. But to me, if these are the things that you're putting smear campaigns out, he said Michelle Obama work with whatever was uninspiring. So that was his opinion. Maybe it wasn't inspiring to him. You know what I mean? And so it was like, to me, APAC really got a lot of money to waste as well. They really got a lot of money to waste, which is what a shame. What a shame. Why isn't APAC funding Israel? I mean, I'm sure they are funding Israel, but why can't they just exclusively be the ones and the ADL? Like, why don't they exclusively fund Israel? Like, I don't understand why we have to be involved with this stuff.
really think it's important for my opponent to speak to why she thinks it's okay to spend $10 million of AIPAC money coming after my character. I'd love to understand that, because I went on Twitter and I said that those comments are unkind. I'd like to see the same thing.
Congresswoman, we're going to get to some questions from our audience in just a moment, but Congresswoman, I do want to give you a chance to address that civility issue that is lacking severely in American politics. Is this something that the ads that you see on television, whether you paid for them or whether someone else paid for them, do you think they're doing an injustice to voters by just filling the room with vitriol and hate and not getting to the issues?
Well, look,
Democrats are good at that.
was revealed in the phone call that Abdul was mentioning, which is that he said that he's not going to be able to get much done, that he's not focused on policy for the first 2 years that he is in the United States Senate, that he's going to be focused on national politics. Again, Michigan needs a workhorse, and I am offering these ideas on day one.
Congressman, respectfully,
Yes. Oh,
I do want to answer the question.
But
It's
it
about
is
civility.
important to
It's
be
about civility.
transparent about what is being said here. And look, Abdul's a great guy. He's a great father. Only he can account for saying that, Whitmer's bought and paid for, or that,
Okay, but 9 times out of 10 she was. Like a lot of these politicians are bought and paid for. I mean, honestly, for her to look at that as a stab, as she can't even acknowledge that she herself is taking $46 million from APAC, it's like, ma'am, you're bought and paid for. So it's like, where is the lie in what he's saying? That's not an insult to women. If you bought and paid for, you bought and paid for. There are a lot of women who are not bought and paid for. Okay, that's not an insult to women, but Democrats, especially when they're dealing with a male candidate against a female candidate, they automatically got to narrate the male candidate as being, disrespectful to women, or narrating them to be against women in certain ways, to kind of make the woman candidate look vulnerable. But ma'am, you're bought and paid for.
No one cares about Debbie Stabenow or that Mallory McMorrow isn't smart enough.
These are all opinions. These are all opinions, right? And honestly, I live in Michigan. I really don't think about Debbie Stabenow, right? And he's right, because she's an older politician, and a lot of younger generation of Michiganders don't know who she is, don't care who she is. And so it's like, you can internalize things that people say, but to me, there's no lie being said here. You may want to internalize them as being offensive, but they're actually pretty truthful. They're actually pretty truthful. Like, he's not speaking on lies here.
On him to respond to, which we certainly just did hear from him on that.
Can I Dr. I'll say it. You have a quick minute.
Look, I told you at the outset that my opponent was going to make this race about me and her. But this is about you. This is about whether or not you deserve a politics of the people, by the people, and for the people, or of the corporations, by the billionaires, and for the special interests. In an effort to talk about civility, I just took another attack. And I just want you to ask yourself, what is it that you deserve from your politics now? Do you deserve a politician more focused on their opponent because they want to be in a seat? Or do you deserve a politics where we're all asking, how do we actually serve you best? Because that's what I'm focused on here in this debate, and been focused on for this entire 15-month campaign that we've been running on.
Well, and thank you for clarifying that you didn't call me an ogre.
Even though that wouldn't have been, she could have played one and it would have been believable. If you're in Michigan, let me know if you saw that debate. Who do you think won the debate? Even if you're not in Michigan and you're just following some of these races, who do you think won that debate? I'm going to give it to Abdul Al Sayed on that one. Haley Stevens, I don't really think she's not a marketable politician, to be honest with you. She's just not. She really does look like a puppet. And as much money as she's taken from APAC, she probably is a puppet. So I can't take this woman seriously. I know a lot of people that I know in my circle who do involve themselves in the political process. They're not voting for her. They are going to be voting for Abdul El Sayed. So, I mean, it's interesting to kind of watch all of this. And let me get to the comments. Anyone who would align with the apartheid fascist state of Israel is either a fascist themselves. And what's going on, Mr. Penn? I see you. Either a fascist themselves or has a complete lack of critical thinking and has been brought by APAC propaganda. I agree. I definitely agree. Thank you, Dave. Dave, again, JFK ran against Nixon, but again, I was making that point because, again, the attractiveness of these candidates definitely play into the psychology of people, whether these people know it or not. Let's see. What do you say? Don't recommend female YouTube channels with nose ring. Well, you can just get your ass off if you don't like the channel. Why are you still here? You're gonna get your feelings hurt over here talking about this female with her nose ring, and your mama might get her feelings hurt too. So you better tread lightly. Where are my moderators? We need people to hurt people's feelings. Putin is almost bankrupt and Ukraine is kicking his ass right now. I don't believe Ukraine is kicking anybody's ass. especially not Russia's, because honestly, he could have been obliterated them if he wanted to. But I think he has more self control than a lot of these retards in the United States military. Great point, Angie. Americans can't be the police of the world because they have no moral standing. Right? How you gonna be the authority over the world and you are also a terrorist and a criminal? Makes sense. Anyone who totally believes one side of the other cares about you is crazy. We need more free thinkers. I love your stream. Thank you so much, Mulch Man. We do need more free thinkers because you have so many people. My dad was a Republican. My mom was a Democrat. I grew up. It's like, who the fuck cares? You need to open your own eyes and look at both of these parties and realize the propaganda that is pushed out when either one of them are dominating administrations, but also when either one of them want to be in office. The demonizing and the witching of the souls and the mindsets of Americans is undeniable. And I call it the witching. And that's why politics is so demonic. It is so demonic. Look at the spirits that it brings out in people. And, unfortunately, I grew up, you never talked about politics. I grew up, I didn't even know if my neighbors were Democrats or Republicans because it was kind of like this unspoken thing. People didn't wear their political affiliations on their sleeves. On election day, people went, did their civic duty, and you didn't really have neighbors unless they had an alignment talking about what somebody else did or probing somebody else into what they did. It's like, sir, mind your damn business and go on about it. You know what I mean? Congratulations to the American public schools for having eradicated critical thinking and skepticism. Absolutely. But that's still up to the parents to do it. Like, if parents are out here in these streets just putting the sole intellectual development of their children on the schools, shame on them and shame on society because these schools are infiltrated by Zionist influencers and they want us dumb enough to elevate their stupidity as well. You can't be supreme and dumb, right? So you got to dumbify everybody else to achieve that. They're leeches, right? APAC and the ADL spend their money in the American political arena because there's that that's where they've gotten the best return on their investments. I agree. I agree. And they must have paid Trump hella money to do this Iran thing. Because why is it that no other US president wanted to make this move? Why were they all kind of reluctant on a no thing? And then somehow, you get Trump with his APAC friendly Jewish son in law, right? And now he's doing all this stupid shit. And honestly, after all is said and done, depending on how much money we lost, like Jared Kushner and Ivanka, the whole Trump family, their name should be mud, right? Their name should be mud. And honestly, after APAC and the Jews get done using their ass, they need to Epstein his ass. Not kill him, but at least expose his Epstein. Because I know they're protecting Trump too, because he's a means to an end right now. But once Trump is out, take the whole damn family out. Embarrass their asses. Make sure they don't make another dime from anybody, at least in America. Let them take their asses overseas to their little private island that they're probably paying for with our dollars for some research bullshit, and they're going to benefit from it. So let just dump them. Get all of their asses out of America. Like Trump and all of his family needs to be kicked out of America and sent to Israel. They just need to send their asses to Israel, for real. I'm sorry, Jesus has nothing to do with Trump. I'm sorry you feel that way, but you're probably a Christian. You probably wear a cross, which a Canaanite named Canaanite gave to your faith. And so I can see the confusion. You guys are very indoctrinated, but God's will has nothing to do with Trump. If anything, this world is cycling out the way it should. And again, we read in Daniel's prophecy that we are going to be in the last days, there's going to be fragments of weak powers, right? Because remember, Babylon was the gold, right? Persia was the silver, right? Medo Persia, right? What was Greece was what was the metal of Greece? It was, what was it? Gold, silver, bronze, iron was Rome on that statue. And then you had all these little bastard pieces mixed with iron and clay, which is our generations. So, I mean, judgment is coming to these wicked nations. And I think, these political structures that are playing out, they're playing out right on time with the right cycles. You know what I mean? And again, I love Ray Dalio's assessment of just the patterns of financial cycles throughout history. I actually parallel that to Daniel's prophecy and even the Revelation. Um, but these cycles are patterned, and the patterns are not lying. This nation will collapse. And I think that the collapse of this nation will kind of create a desperation in world power. And I think that's where, and I think theoretically, we've already been under an idea of a one world order with the United Nations. I just think that, it's going to get to a point where this world order is going to be something that people hate. It's going to be exclusionary. And you see with the different AI models and digital IDs and currencies, they're already setting up the beast system. They're already setting up the mechanisms to exclude people from not bowing down to their satanic systems. And, when the word talks about near the end, the hearts of many believers towards the Most High will grow cold, really it's going to be these people who really thought that the things that they gathered in this system or things were truly gifts from God and not, survival mechanisms, and when all this stuff is taken away, a lot of people are going to curse God. And, I want to share one last thing because this is one thing that I just learned about as I was looking at this young lady who was in tears. And her family home is going to be torn down to make way for I guess a road and a data center. And I didn't even know that something like that was constitutional because I thought that, we had the rights to property and stuff, but I guess there's this thing, this little loophole called eminent domain. And I was reading the comments because let me see if I can find it. I was not familiar with your home is, I mean, honestly, you don't own anything because with this eminent domain thing, it's like they can constitutionally take everything that you've worked for. It's crazy. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if this is it. Here it is.
Waking up one day and being told the home your family has lived in for years is going to be demolished to help power the AI boom, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. That is what is happening to some homeowners.
So
in Georgia.
let me know if you
They've
guys
been
have
given an
ever heard
ultimatum:
of
sell your
eminent
home
domain.
or the state will take it. Utility giant Georgia Power is planning to build a new transmission line so it can handle new data centers. Skylar Henry has more from a county just outside Atlanta.
I'm a single mom. I work hard for everything.
How do you put a price on a home you never intended to sell? One filled with more than 2 decades of memories.
And it's a
I think I
beautiful
was 5 or
property.
6 when this was built.
The yard where you buried your pets. The greenhouse that fed your family.
When you talk about what being on this property means to you,
Yeah.
right? It's y'all's.
It's ours. It's our family. We belong here.
But Ansley Brown's childhood home likely won't be here much longer. That's because the state's largest utility, Georgia Power, says it needs the area to make way for a 35-mile-long transmission line. Georgia Power has been here for as long as Ansley's mother has owned this property. It's just beyond the tree line. Now, with the expansion of this latest project, they're looking to take the 2.5 acres the house sits on. Georgia Power says increasing demand has outpaced the capacity of its existing grid, and building a new transmission line requires acquiring more than 300 parcels of land, including residential properties.
What did your mom tell you she wanted for this property to be?
Generational wealth, true generational wealth was the idea, and now it's being stripped from us.
Georgia Power estimates 70 to 80% of the power on this new line is expected to help serve data centers. It says the remaining 20 to 30% of power will serve the state's growing residential and commercial demand.
Georgia Power told us that they feel as if they've done this process responsibly. What would you say to that?
I disagree. You can't tear down 35 miles of rural Georgia and it not hurt something or somebody. And to say that you're doing it in the name of data centers is a slap in the face to us, our community, our animals.
Brown's mother recently came to an agreement with Georgia Power to sell. Brown says if she didn't, the utility could have sought to acquire her property through eminent domain, a legal
Now
process
that
that allows
tripped me
private
out.
property to be taken with compensation for projects determined to serve a public purpose.
And I hear that compensation even sometimes it isn't even worth what the property is valued. And that's the sad thing. Like these people can, if you don't sell your home, right, they can force you to sell it under eminent domain, and they may not even give you, a fair asking price for it, which is insane. And I'm like, what is the point of the Constitution if, this can happen to property owners, right? I mean, it's crazy to me. And then this is the representative from Georgia Power.
Our generation starts somewhere.
Holly Lovett is a Georgia Power spokesperson.
Eminent domain is always, a last resort for us, and it's something we never want to do.
To us, it's theft. It's literally $1 billion company stealing land from smaller people who can't fight back.
Wow, they got a fish pond on their yard. I mean, they got chicken coops. I mean, to put that much energy and investment into your property and to just have a $1 billion company say, we need to expand because we're building AI data centers that are going to surveil you and watch everything you do. It's like the psychology is just so off with all of that.
We don't have the money to fight Georgia Power.
So that's why a few months ago, Ansley took her story to TikTok.
My childhood home is being taken by Georgia Power.
She began sharing stories of others in similar situations.
What is it taking from her? Look behind me.
Oh my God,
It's
that is
taking
a
this
beautiful
entire
pool.
backyard.
What do you say?
I hate that. I really hate that for people. I mean, it makes people feel afraid to own. And, I actually put out there, like, how is this constitutional? And, obviously, eminent domain is like the representative from Georgia Power said, it's their last resort. But again, they probably have to take that resort all the time. And for the homeowners, it's duress because it's like, I got to basically force sell my home to you. Otherwise, you're going to take it anyway. So it's like you're not winning in this scenario as a homeowner. And to me, I just feel like the Constitution is damn near usurped with any notion of eminent domain. So, I mean, right to property to me is a pipe. Like to me, it's a delusion or illusion when these people can just take your property like that. So let me know if you know of any other homeowners who are currently being forced out of their property, what they've invested in, the generational wealth that they hope to pass down to their kids, right? Because a data center is being built and the land is needed. I think this is so sad, but this is America, y'all. The American dream is dead. But anyways, you guys, love your neighbor as yourself. If you would not disrespect or abuse yourself, Don't disrespect or abuse your neighbor, and just keep your prayers up. Pray for everybody if you are inclined to do so, because people are out here going through conflicts and struggles that we have no idea, and it always pays to just add a little bit of kindness to when you're dealing with folks. Bye. I want to go.